people usually spend their money and invest what's left. That's the philosophy of the poor. Now, here's the philosophy of the rich. Rich people invest their money and spend what's left. And here's the startling answer. It really doesn't matter what the amount is. What's most important is not the amount. What's really important is the philosophy. So I would ask you to adopt this philosophy of spending after you have invested. Invest first, then spend.
Is there anybody in here that's been through enough suffering in your life that you held on by a thread and you were just holding on by the skin of your teeth and you made it over, and sometimes you felt like giving up, and sometimes you felt like dying, and sometimes you felt like committing suicide, but there was just a little bit of ray of light, just a little bit of light coming into the dark arc that lit it just enough for you to press your way through the storm and the rain.
Why would you not go for it? Why would you not take a chance? At one point in time, you got to take a chance on you.
When I was a kid, I was wondering kind of what's the meaning of life? Like, why are we here? What's it all about? And I came to the conclusion that what really matters is trying to understand the right questions to ask.
When you feel yourself moving step by step, each hour, each day, toward achieving something that's important to you, you feel positive and happy most of the time. By the way, do you know what unsuccessful people think about most of the time? They think about what they don't want, the things that make them angry or sad, usually past events that they can't change, and they think about who's to blame for all their problems. So whenever you see people talking and complaining about things that they can't change, things in their life that are their responsibility, and then blaming others for their problems, you know you're dealing with a negative, unhappy person with a very limited future and a very unhappy present. So the way you take control of your mind, like grabbing the wheel of a vehicle, is start to think about what you want and how to get it all day long. Turning point for me, that moment, was when I was struggling in sales. I went to a top salesperson and I said, "Why are you earning 10 times as much as me?" Well, he said, "Show me your sales method and I will give you some advice." I said, "I don't have a sales method." He said, "Well, that's your problem." He said, "Selling is a science. There's a formula to it. If you follow the formula, you make sales. And if you don't make sales, except by luck." Well, that was the turning point in my life. And this was what I learned, is that you can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set for yourself. And I teach that, and I've taught that for more than 30 years. You can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set. If you want to become healthy or wealthy or raise happy children or build a successful business, you can learn how, which means there are no limits. And that was the big turning point in my life.
If you want to be wealthy and happy the rest of your life, just learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. See, it's not what you get by tricks. It's not what you get by demand. It's what you get by performance that counts. Performance comes from inside, not outside.
Stop talking about your relationship to other people. When you get married, form a two-handed circle. Don't let nobody else in that circle. Because if you let your mama in, she gonna mess it up. Yeah. You can't let your friends in, they gonna mess it up. Form a two-handed circle, don't let nobody in it.
Keep in mind that we'll be able to correct many of the mistakes you make along the way, just like this eraser. If we learn from our mistakes, they're not mistakes. They're lessons we can use to do better the next time around.
One of the best quotes I've ever heard on this subject is from Rumi. He said, "Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I'm wise, so I'm changing myself."
There's 3 P's
that you got to annihilate, crush, or destroy if they're getting in the way of your progress in a relationship or your career or your happiness or your health. These are the 3 P's that make learned helplessness. Number 1, you think the problem is permanent. Once you've had enough disappointment, sometimes your brain doesn't want to get disappointed, so it's a permanent problem. Please write down, no problem is permanent. Only your soul is permanent. Nothing's forever. Everything changes. Everything eventually ends and something new begins. That's part of life. Those are the seasons of life. The second P that keeps people in learned helplessness so they don't change, this belief's got to be annihilated, broken through, and that it's pervasive. That means that because my relationship's not great, my whole life is horrible. And you're forgetting you do have health, or you do have friends, or you do have a job, or you do have whatever. I can breathe. And the third one is we think the problem is personal. There's something wrong with me. And if you start believing that, it becomes self-fulfilling. You give up. See, I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not smart enough. I always screw it up. So those 3 P's got to be destroyed.
Nobody believes in you. You lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day and saying to yourself, it's not over until I win.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait, I'm not done now. You know, the devil goes, oh no, leave him alone. Hey, he's my favorite. Don't bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
Everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you could go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up, no matter what.
Accept the pain. Smile at the pain. Embrace the pain. Pain is the gatekeeper of destiny. Pain is there to ask you one simple question. Do you really want to achieve your goals? Or are you just a talker?
Everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up, no matter what.